Hello, my dear. I'm Petra again. I hope you're fine. Today, I'm going to tell you something incredible. So take one slow, full breath and relax. In the last video, we explored attention, how what you focus on shapes your experience. Today, we take a natural step forward. We are going to explore who is doing the focusing. Most of the problems you think you have are actually related to who you think you are. We've been taught to see ourselves as a noun, a fixed person with fixed flaws. I'm anxious, I'm unlucky, I'm shy. But neuroscience reveals a much more liberating truth. Your sense of self is not a thing, it's a verb. And what is a verb? A verb is a process your brain is performing in real time. And why is this so important? Because once you realize you are a flow and not a fixed object, you gain the power to rewrite your reality. Today, I'm going to show you how to stop being your limitations and start observing them so you can finally make space for the abundance you have been chasing for so long. Most of us move through the world with a very clear, rigid feeling of me. I am this person, I am like this is just how I react. It feels solid, permanent, obvious, in some ways even safe, like a finished statue sitting in the middle of a room. But neuroscience tells us something that feels almost like a magic trick. Your sense of self is not a thing, it's a verb. It is something your brain is doing, not something you are. And this is a very important concept. Let me explain deeper. A noun is a static object like a rock. A verb is a dynamic process like a fire. The feeling of me is actually a process. But we often get confused because our memory takes snapshots of our lives and stitches them together. And when we look at a photo from 10 years ago, we say, it's me. But that's not true. In fact, biologically, most of the cells in your body have been replaced multiple times, so you are literally not the same stuff. And neurologically, your synaptic connections are in a state of constant flux, and it's called neuroplasticity. Every new conversation or piece of information subtly rewires the verb that is you. Your brain is constantly weaving together your memories of the past, your internal body sensations, your current emotions, your future expectations, and the stories you tell yourself to make sense of it all. All of these are happening now, and because they are happening in real time, they are prone to change. The you of 5 years ago is biologically and neurologically a different entity than the you listening to this. The you feel in one moment is not the same you feel in another, and this can be both freeing and for many unsettling. Now let's make an example to clarify. Think of a waterfall. From a distance, it looks like a solid white object hanging on a cliff. You could give it a name. It looks like a thing. But when you get close, you realize there's nothing there. It's actually a process of water falling. The water is constantly changing. The light is shifting. The rocks underneath are eroding. The waterfall only exists because of the movement. If you view yourself as a noun, you are stuck with your traits. If you view yourself as a verb, you realize you are a flow. You aren't a lazy person. You are currently experiencing a pattern of low energy. And this changes everything. Because when you stop seeing yourself as a fixed object, the pressure to fix yourself disappears. You don't fix a waterfall, you change the direction of the flow. Applying the verb logic to limiting beliefs, I can say that a limiting belief only has power because we treat it like a noun, a fixed, heavy object in the middle of our path. Let's take the common belief I am bad at business. From the noun point of view, this is a fact about me. It's a permanent trait like my height or eye color. Because it is a thing, I have to carry it everywhere. From the verb point of view, this is a process my brain is running. My brain is currently retrieving memories of past mistakes, simulating a future failure, and generating a feeling of anxiety. But if, instead of saying, I'm bad at business, I describe the action, my brain is currently running a DAPT program based on all the data. Because when you recognize them as experiences happening within you in a specific moment and not as who you are, something softens, space appears, and in that space, new possibilities emerge. When you describe it as an action, so a verb, it loses its weight, and even if you can't easily change who you are, you can always change who you are doing. Let's make another important example. If the self is a verb, a constant flow of thoughts and sensations, the observer is the space in which that action happens. Think of it as it was your entire body. Now, let's think of a movie screen. The movie is the self. This is the verb. It's full of action, drama, movement, and change. It's never the same from one second to the next. The screen is the observer. This is the noun. It's still, silent, and unchanging. It doesn't matter if the movie is an explosion or a quiet sunset. The screen remains quiet and unaffected. How they work together? The flow, so the verb. You feel a surge of anger, the observation. You step back into the screen, that is the observer, and notice, hungering is happening right now, the choice. Because you see the anger as a temporary movement rather than your identity, you don't have to act on it. You can wait for the waterfall of that emotion to pass. In neuroscience, there is a concept called veto power. Between the moment your brain starts a verb, like reaching for a cookie or thinking a mean thought, and the moment you actually do it, there is a tiny window of time, some milliseconds. The observer lives in that window. So by practicing being the observer, you widen that gap. You start to see the self starting to perform a habit, and you simply watch it happen without joining in. Eventually, the brain realizes that verb isn't getting any engagement and it stops running the program. This is how literally thrown away old versions of yourself. Practicing being the observer is crucial for many reasons, and one of them is that the self is state dependent. Think about how you feel in the morning when you wake up calm and rested. Your perspective is broad, you feel capable. Now think about the traffic jam you, stressed, late, and overwhelmed. Same name, same life, but a completely different self. In the second scenario, your brain's survival center has taken the wheel. Yourself literally shrinks to a survival based version of you. This shows us a profound truth. The self is state dependent. Who you think you are changes with your nervous system. your energy, and even your environment. And you can notice this in yourself every day, how your sense of you shifts from moment to moment. It is not fixed. Here's the turning point. If you change when your mood changes, then who is the one watching the change? There is a part of you that notices thoughts, emotions, and sensation. There is a part that notices the tightness in your chest when you say, I'm not enough. That part is not the thought or the emotion or the sensation in itself. In neuroscience, it's called metacognition, and it's the ability to monitor our own cognitive processes. It's like being in a movie theater. Your thoughts and emotions are the movie playing on the screen, but you are the person sitting in the dark watching. The movie might be a tragedy or a horror film, but the person in the seat, the awareness, remains untouched. When you act as the observer in your own life, you realize the storms of emotion, the fluctuations of thought, the pressures of identity, but you are passing through you, not defining you. So now to get back to abundance, let's ask ourselves, why does abundance feel so out of reach? Because we treat our limitations like nouns. We say, I am a procrastinator, I have bad luck, I am not a money person. But when you use the word am, you are telling your brain that this trait is a fixed object, like a boulder blocking your path. You feel you have to blast it or to move it, and that feels exhausting, and so you give up. But abundance doesn't enter a rigid system, it enters a fluid one, and the observer is the only one who can create flexibility, and flexibility creates choice. The shift happens when you turn that noun back into a verb. You aren't a failure. Your brain is currently processing a memory of a mistake. You aren't bad with money. You are currently experiencing a habit of avoidance. In this way, space appears. When you stop seeing your identity as a solid object and start seeing it as a temporary movement, something softens. You realize that a movement can change direction. A verb can be edited. This is the space of possibility where abundance finally has room to breathe. Let's make an example very simple and clear to show how a verb gets mistaken for a noun. Imagine it's a Tuesday morning. You are already 5 minutes late. As you rush out the door, you bump your arm and spill coffee all over your white shirt and the rug. The noun reaction. Immediately, your brain creates a noun. You think, I am a klutz. My life is a mess. Notice the language. You have taken a temporary event, spilling liquid, and turned it into a permanent identity. I am this way. When you do this, your brain stops looking for solutions and starts looking for more evidence to support the noun. You spend the rest of the day noticing every small mistake as proof that you are a mess. The verb perspective. Now imagine the same event through the lens of the observer. You see the coffee hit the floor, your heart rate spikes, but instead of I am a mess, you observe the process. Spilling is happening, my nervous system is triggering a stress response, my brain is attempting to label me as a failure to make sense of the stress. So the result, because you see it as a verb, a series of temporary actions and reactions, you don't carry the class identity into your 10 a.m. meeting. The spilled coffee is just a flow of events that started at 8 a.m. and ended at 8 and 5. It isn't you. This example is powerful because it shows that abundance isn't just about money, it's about emotional resourcefulness. If you believe you are a mess, you won't take the risks necessary for abundance because messes always fail. But if you see that you are just experiencing a messy moment, you stay fluid. You clean the rug, change your shirt, and walk into your meeting with your observer intact, ready for the next opportunity. Now, let's go toward the last important concept for today. Your brain is a prediction engine. It creates a model of you to predict how you should act to stay safe. It loves consistency, even if that consistency means being broke or unhappy. But through self directed neuroplasticity, you can signal to your brain that the old model is outdated. Awareness is the strongest signal for change. When you observe a pattern without fighting it, you provide your brain with a prediction error. You are telling your nervous system this is not fixed, this is just a process, this can change. Even small moments of noticing, pausing before reacting, can gradually rewire your sense of self. The observer is not just a concept, it's a biological reality. It's your brain's way of giving you flexibility in life. So now let's pause for a moment. Notice whatever thought is present right now. Maybe it's a thought about what you are going to do after this video, or a judgment about what I'm saying. Just one thought. Now notice that you are aware of that thought. That awareness isn't trying to fix the thought. It isn't arguing with it. It's just holding it. In this moment, you aren't the person with the thought. You are the space in which the thought exists. That is the observer. That is where your power lives. For this week, try something very simple. When you notice a strong emotion or reaction, silently say, "This is being experienced." Not, "This is bad." Not, "This is wrong." Just, "This is being experienced." This small shift creates distance without rejection, and distance creates choice. You may notice over time that reactions soften, thoughts become less automatic, you feel a little freer to act rather than react. Even a few moments of practice each day begin to shape who you are becoming. And why it works? Because I am fuses your identity with the emotion. I am experiencing creates a neurological gap. It reminds your brain that the emotion is just a temporary weather pattern passing through the sky, but you are the sky. So, if you have spent years feeling stuck, it's likely because you are trying to fix a noun that didn't exist. You were trying to change a statue when you are actually a river. Think of it. What is one noun about yourself that you are ready to turn into a verb today? Instead of "I am a failure," tell me, "I'm experiencing the process of learning." Let's start redefining who you are in the comments below. So now, if this shift helped you, hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you in next video when we'll explore connection between people, system and experiences, and we'll see why separation is often more psychological than real. Until then, remember this. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to understand yourself. And understanding is the beginning of freedom.